Hi. Hi again.
Hey, hi, we're rolling.
So,
Welcome to Bicycle Thought Podcast number 2. I think we recorded like a total of like 4, but officially there's a pre-podcast, which is podcast 0, and there's a podcast number 1, which we posted, and this one's going to be podcast number 2. So for today's discussion, I would like to propose the development of the theoretical understanding of bullshit by providing some tentative and exploratory philosophical analysis.
are you gonna put like a
No,
question mark right here?
I'm totally joking. No, so we're going to be talking about gratitude.
Gratitude.
Rocio read a bunch of books about gratitude and created some mind maps, and we're going to discuss those, being grateful and how it changes your perspective and how it rewires your brain and the benefits of being grateful. And I was just reading, this is totally random, I was just reading an article that
Uh-huh.
said Florida man arrested for calling 911 after his cat was denied entry into a strip club.
Are you gonna put the question mark again?
Yeah. So anyways,
Yeah, I think some other books were just talking about like the benefits of being grateful, and like the benefits were like extremely like, oh, you're gonna be more optimistic, you're gonna have more energy, you're gonna be great, you're gonna have a great health, you're gonna live longer, you're gonna do better at math test, like anything, you're gonna be. It was like,
it's
I
the
think,
solution for everything in
I
your
mean,
life.
in a way, it's kind of true, just because what you just said. If you focus, like if you try to stop focusing on the negative, you're less distracted. And being less distracted, then yeah, you can work on like anything, like any solution. So in a way, like indirectly, I guess it's true. It's not like a magical pill that immediately and also it's like a muscle, because that's the other thing they said. Like if you want to do a journal, like do it. I think some of the book mentioned like don't try to do it every day. Don't try to, oh, I need to write my gratitude journal. I need to not miss a single day. I think they say it's actually more effective if you don't try to do it every day. Like if you miss out and do it like every few days or so, it's okay, because I guess and this is just my theory, if you do it every day, it becomes more systematic. And you're just doing it without feeling it. You're just like, oh yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
write. Yeah, thank you for everything. Thank you for the meal I'm having. Like you don't really feel grateful. You're just doing it out of just something else you have to do out
Just
of
motor
habit.
memory. You're just like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, I just have to write down those things. And you
Yeah,
kind of
but you
don't pay
don't really
attention to it.
feel. And I think that the purpose of like going through a gratitude journal or writing thank you messages to people. I think that the final, like the ultimate purpose is so that you are more aware. It's just to bring awareness. Like you are more aware of those things, like of the things you have. And yeah, when you are more aware, then you see all the benefits. Then you're less distracted and you do better at everything in life.
Yeah. And
uh,
there is specifically, yeah, I was just trying to see there's a part of the brain in the amygdala, I believe, that uh, kind of checks parts of your experiences against sort of the database of things that you normally do and are familiar with. And
mm,
when it's something that you constantly see all the time, it just discounts that.
oh
So it
yes.
just like you're driving to work every day and you see all those houses on both sides of the street. But if somebody were to ask you to describe what those houses look like, or
Hmm.
what color is the mailbox, you can't say you don't know.
Yeah,
You've driven a million times past those houses and you have no recollection what they look like, because
yeah.
those they're you're blind to them. They're completely discounted to you.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you see them, your brain just says, this is discounted. This
This
is
is known. This is known. Let's ignore it.
yeah, just completely ignore. It's almost like a cortical blindness to the point where it not only are you not processing it, but you can't even perceive it almost.
Hmm.
And I think that if you do something every day that requires you to kind of think about the same thing over and over deeply, I think you might end up actually falling into that trap.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because it makes sense that our brain does that for efficiency. Why would you need to look at the mailbox every single day of the 5 years you passed through the same house? Like you don't. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that you're not completely aware of those details. But it also makes sense. Okay, this is making getting me to a conclusion. Habits are great for things that we don't need to think about. Like brushing your teeth. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
you don't need to be aware of like, oh, did I brush well the back of my teeth? Like if you do it every day, you just do it fine. It's okay. It's not like you're learning anything
Or
new.
doing push-ups, some repetitive
Yeah,
exercise or
yeah,
stretches that you do.
yeah,
It doesn't
exactly.
matter for that. It's okay that they're completely zoned out.
Repetitive and zoned
Yeah,
out.
as
But
long
for
as you
some,
do them.
right, as long as you do
Yeah.
them, it's like completely okay to, yeah, like almost if you could delegate certain things, like delegate, but you don't delegate exercise. You just, if you do it out of habit, then that's great. You
Oh
just do
no.
it.
I actually delegate my exercises. I delegate I hired a bunch of people at a sweatshop in India. For 50 cents a day,
Oh
they actually
no.
meditate for me. And they meditate 8 hours a day so that I can get the benefits of meditation without actually wasting my time sitting there meditating.
That makes me wonder if
Uh,
you attend like a Zoom meeting of a meditation class,
mhm.
but you're like just doing work at the time. You're kind of like doing both, right? At the same time. Or like if you
Yeah,
watch like
you
a,
get the benefits of it.
yeah, like a hit workout where you're like sitting down on the couch. It's kind of like working out, right? That kind of
Yeah,
work.
I'm actually
Kind
paying
of
this guy to
counts.
do push-ups for me for 50 cents a day. And
Sounds
it,
like a
it really
great
helps.
deal.
Yeah, it's a really great workout.
But like I said, I grew up in a culture, in a family where saying thank you is not it's not the default thing. In a way, it's like almost like if you say thank you to someone, they're like, oh no, no, don't mention it. No, don't say that. And so in a way, it's like quite the opposite. Like because on the other side, I feel like in the more like American culture or North American culture in general, is more like you say thank you, you also expect a thank you back when you do something nice. But I feel like in the culture I grew up, you don't expect a thank you back. It's okay. Like if people don't say it, you're like, oh, that's whatever. You
Yeah,
don't.
I remember I was really surprised when somebody I knew that was applying for jobs,
Yeah.
and she was applying for jobs, like interviewing, and then she was sending out thank you letters to those people.
Uh-huh.
And this was like many years ago when I first moved here and
Yeah.
I was learning English, and I was like, thank you? You're sending thank you letters?
Yeah.
That was like a really I was really confused about that. Like, why would you send thank you letters?
Yeah,
So
me
I
too.
I didn't grow up. I've never heard of anyone doing that before, and
Uh,
then it turns out that it's more common than I anticipated, and
yeah.
people are more thankful than I thought.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way when we went to a wedding of my cousin, and then my cousin sent a thank you note, and I was like, wow, what? Like I never heard of that. I had gone to so many weddings before. I never heard of like people doing thank you notes. And like, whoa, why is she doing that? And like I started, it's just so uncommon that you're like, uh,
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, this person is so nice. It's shocking.
Yeah. Oh, they really did a
Shocking how nice
job.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's.
Something that I found actually interesting and useful here. This list that you made on the mind map of what book is this? Gratitude Works.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, gateways to gratitude, fasting, silence, simplicity,
Oh,
self-reflection.
yeah.
There's a lot under that.
Mm-hmm.
And also the other list, which is kind of helpful. I don't know if this has to do with gratitude or this is just a list of good things to do. Acknowledge wrongdoing, receiving, receive
Oh,
feedback
yeah.
graciously.
Okay, yeah. So let's okay. First, the first one, gateways to gratitude. So they're saying, yeah, if you don't, if gratitude is not a common thing for you to feel, some of the things you could do is like, even like food fasting, like
Mm,
fasting for 1, 2 days, like any uh, process of fasting. I mean, other than besides like I think it's good. I've heard it's good to do it once in a while, like for your body. It's also good. I guess you appreciate food more after that. I think it happens even when you're sick and
it
you
is more
can't.
delicious when you're really
Yeah,
hungry.
yeah, that's true. So if you haven't, like, if you're sick and you haven't eaten in 2 days, and then you try food, food is so good. Like, I think it break. You know what's made this is making me conclude this breaks the habit. And when you break the like, if you're having food every day, you're like, okay, food, great, but you don't. But then when you haven't had it in like 1, 2 days, and then have it again, you are like, wow,
Unless you
this
have the
is
coronavirus and then you can't taste anything, and you're just like, this tastes like mattress.
yeah.
I feel like I'm chewing on a mattress. What is the sandwich made of?
So what was I saying?
Oh,
Hmm.
you were going down the list. And there's that list on the
Yeah.
right that I found
Yeah,
really
so
useful.
that was fasting, and then silence. Oh yeah, I think you did this. I haven't properly done it like in any, but I've heard that some meditation retreats
Hmm.
have like silence days where you don't speak to anyone.
Yeah, I did that.
You did that, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Vipassana meditation for 10 days,
Mm-hmm.
and you literally can't make eye contact with anyone. It's complete silence, 24/7. There's no talking, no listening to music, no reading, nothing. You can't do anything. You only meditate pretty much all day, and then you eat a little bit of food, whatever food they give you,
Drugs.
drugs. No, and yeah, and then you sleep, and then you meditate, and then you sleep, and then you meditate for 10 days.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess that, did you feel grateful after that?
It was actually, I don't know about gratefulness, but you know how like you learn a lot of things because I have this constant habit of constantly learning, reading new books, reading new information, processing it. And I feel like I've been overdoing it a little too much to where I was actually stressed and my mind didn't have enough time to process all that information. And kind of like you end up like putting that information into like boxes in your mind, boxes
Mm.
that, you know, kind of like for later processing or like to consolidate that, think about that
Oh,
later. And those
yeah.
boxes just collect. And when I went to meditate there for 10 days, for the first maybe 4 or 5 days, I almost felt like I was going crazy because I felt like all of those things that I've been meaning to think about and think through and process, I feel like all of those boxes were just opening and all of that data, all of that information was just flowing in my mind
Oh,
like literally 24/7. I couldn't concentrate. I was just
yeah.
it was just like a constant stream of information for 4 or 5 days.
Oh, yeah.
And after that, after meditating for maybe 4 or 5 days, it stopped. And I felt
Okay.
I felt really, really calm and peaceful and
Mm,
relaxed. And like, if you had like a progress bar of stress, like from least stressful to most stressful.
yeah,
And if you think
I
like
went.
we're in the middle somewhere, like usually like you were in the middle somewhere, and then you
Uh-huh.
get more stressed, then you get less stressed.
Yeah.
Well, I realized that the middle, where I thought was the middle, was actually more towards the high stress.
Oh.
And after those 4 or 5 days, I started going to the lower stress end that I've
Wow.
never been to before. And I felt relaxed and confident and positive,
Mm-hmm.
like like it was unusual.
Hmm.
I felt the kind of peace and quiet and relaxation that I haven't felt in a long time.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
like people have told
Not
me like
having, I feel like I haven't tried that. I feel like I would feel so frustrated having thoughts passing by and not telling anyone and not writing about it.
you
I
can't
would feel
write, you
like
can't read, you
I would
can't do
feel like
anything.
I want to like what if like an amazing idea comes from it and like, oh, I have
Nope.
this amazing idea, I want to write it down on my notes.
You don't have notes with
Mm,
you. You don't have anything with you. You don't
yeah,
have you.
I would
Oh,
feel
I didn't have
I
no
would write on
cell
the
phone.
sand. I would write it like on a rock or something.
Write it in blood. No, you don't even have your cell phone with you. You can't bring your cell phone with
Yeah,
you.
that's understandable. I get that. Some days, okay, I guess this is the closest I've done. I've gone like phone free. I think I was doing that a few times, like uh, during some months. I think like that. I don't know, when I'm having like a hard time, like overall, like a hard, difficult month. I just try to do that once in a while, like to disconnect, to like literally like turn off my phone. I even do it on my birthdays. I started doing it on my birthdays. Like I just don't receive like you can call me tomorrow, but like today I just like turn off everything. Like turn off my phone. I just don't wanna I wanna have like a day out of day out of like streaming information back and forth.
Those days are really nice. And like people have told me before, like, and I've read in books and
Yeah.
I've done Sam Harris's like meditation app and all of that. And people have told me like, oh, to relax, you just need to meditate and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to meditate by myself, like at home, but then the cell phone rings, you get an email, you get a text
Yeah.
message,
That's why like I
somebody's
turn it off.
birthday
I
or
mean, like
something.
if I need to, like if I'm having like a vacation and I just like turn off my phone, like it's just for a
Yeah.
day. It's not like
And
you. I mean, I
well,
feel like
like,
there's nothing too urgent in
yeah,
a day
well,
that one
I was just saying like you meditate for how long? Like 20 minutes, an hour?
15, yeah,
And
15, 30
I
minutes.
realized like for me to get to that kind of state where like everything just snaps into place, I
Yeah.
needed 5 days. I
Uh-huh.
needed 5 days of
Just
silence.
do it like 5 days. Just do it
This
Monday
wasn't
to Friday and like
like
work on
20
weekends.
minutes, like 20 minutes wasn't helping me. I
Mm-hmm.
needed 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
I
You know,
wasn't even
I
close.
I think that's why it's been on the back of my mind that I want to get into more hiking or like serious hiking, not just like a stroll in the park, but like hiking, like be disconnected, like not have my phone unless just for like GPS or whatever, but like disconnect and not for like a half an hour, but like at least 3 hours just be. And when you're hiking, it's like you're really there, or otherwise you do a bad step on a rock and it's you're screwed. So like you have to be right there, like in the present. And I feel like it's a way of meditation in a way.
Yes.
Just because it really, if you're having a thought, it's not like you sit down in the middle of the trail and start writing or calling someone to tell. Like you just keep going on.
I
But
think hiking is one of those things that kind of forces you to be in the present to a certain
mm-hmm.
extent. I
Yeah.
think that's why like video games are so addictive because when
Mm-hmm.
you're driving, you're racing, you're like somebody's shooting at you, you're like playing a video game,
You're like
you you
there.
you can't be in the past or in the future. You can't be wondering about like something that somebody said to you. You're concentrated.
Yeah.
You're forced to be in the present,
Yeah.
and that creates the experience.
I wonder, I feel like I've read books that do they contradict in terms of that is great to have. Like this, I guess this is like the flow time. But is it is there any possibility to do it for longer? Or do
To
we
do what?
need to have both? Like to have this, imagine like this when you're gaming or you're hiking or meditating, you're like in this like fully present moment. But could you do that at all times? I feel like we can't.
That's what The Power of Now is about. That book,
To do it like all the time. Like
to
to
be
be in the
there, to
present
be in the
all the
now.
time.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can be in the present 100% of the time because it's just your
Yeah.
mind is going to wander. But it
Yeah, but
it
like
talks about
let's say it was possible. Like I mean literally, if we all had like a lobotomy, we could do that, I guess. Like we could not think about, I mean, we wouldn't have the ability to
yeah.
think about the future. And I guess if we remove maybe other area of the brain, then you can think about the past. I I'm still not convinced. I'm personally not convinced that that's a good idea.
Me
Like,
neither.
I think it's good to have those times when you're focused on the present. Like it happens even like at work with me, like or when you're coding, you're really in there. You're really like, oh, I'm getting this, and you're just very, very concentrated. It happens when you do like sports, when you do dancing, even when you're like cooking or something, like you're really in the moment. And that is a great feeling and all that. But I feel like then you need to like step back and be like, okay, what's going on? What,
Well,
like think about a memory, think about a future, think see everything.
even The Power of Now talks
Yeah.
about using going to the past and to the future and planning and things like that, using that as a tool, like using your mind as a tool that you control instead of it controlling you, instead
Yeah.
of it overflowing with constant thoughts of like something that somebody said to you or what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. I have to do this and that, and I don't know how that's
Yeah.
going to go, if somebody's going to be angry at me. Instead of constantly being consumed by just panic from your mind,
Oh yeah.
consuming everything, poisoning everything that you do, instead being the observer of your mind and being in control, and then using going to the past and the future as a tool whenever you actually need to.
Mhm.
I don't think it tells you to do that 100% of the time. It's
Yeah, like
just
animals do it 100%, but
some.
but
I think.
yeah, but I feel like we need some planning. And for to do that planning, we need to be like moving between past and future
Yeah,
concept. Okay,
but
quick
using it
break. I'm
strategically.
gonna quick break. I'm gonna drink some
Yeah,
water, as you can see in my invisible glass. So we talked about fasting and silence, and the other one,
yeah.
self-reflection. Oh yeah, I guess
Stupidity.
most of the time
Oh, sorry,
when
simplicity,
yeah, I
not
was trying to
stupidity. I
avoid that
misread.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, so self-reflection. Um, just I guess self-reflection is the one that people do the most when they are thinking about gratitude. It's like just self-reflect, what am I grateful for? So the most common thing is like having a gratitude journal. Um, and then in the book Gratitude Works is the one that focus more on the negative stuff, I guess. Like
Gratitude.
instead of like if you can think of something positive, then think of the absence of it. think of the absence of something that you currently have.
Yeah, like
Um,
the old saying goes, if you can't say something positive, say something so negative that it makes other people cringe. No, I
what?
don't know.
Is that a thing? Don't
No,
tell me that.
just
I
made
might
that up.
start doing it.
No, so yeah, also don't
Yeah.
forget to talk about that list on the right in your mind map that I found super useful. This is a good list.
Oh yeah. So just to continue in self-reflection.
Oh,
So one
sorry,
of the
that
things they talk, I think it's Japanese, is like there is a practice called Naikan, Naikan. So this is basically writing like 3 questions about a specific person in your life. Like, so you think, what have I received from this person? And then you write what have you got from them? And then what have I give to this person? And then you think about the things you've done. Yeah, you've done or give them, or like any favors or anything you've done for them. And then what troubles and difficulties I have caused to this particular person. You don't, and this is it. These are only 3 questions. You don't think about what difficulties that person has caused you, because we're already, I mean, we're naturally ready to focus on that. So
yeah.
we don't leave that question. Just think about, yeah, what have you received, what have you given, so that makes you reflect on if you want to give some more, like if there are any other ways that you can give to other people, and if you had caused any difficulties to others. So I guess, yeah, that also makes you
You
think.
know, this is really interesting because this sounds like, so you know how there's different kinds of treatments for people with psychopathy, and sociopathy and people who are psychopaths, like in prison. There's different kinds of treatments, but the
Yeah.
recidivism rates are very, very high. So this would be like if I had to come up with an exercise that they would have to go through that could possibly help. This
Mhm.
sounds like something that could possibly help because they're the people who lack kind of, I wouldn't say emotional intelligence per se, but they lack empathy and the ability to feel what other people are feeling. So like giving them an exercise like what trouble have I caused or what kind of emotional stress or pain I've caused someone else, and
Mhm.
just kind of like forcing someone to go over that. People who have issues with empathy, I feel like that's a really, really good exercise, something that's really useful in
I
that
think
situation.
that's a very good point. I think empathy can be trained in that way. Like, at least if it's not called empathy, then self-awareness. That brings awareness. Because I don't really know exactly what empathy is. I read this book in the past called Against Empathy. It's not, and it sounds bad, but it's
It's
not
a
bad at
book
all.
about how to become a psychopath.
It's quite the opposite. It's just like, I don't know if you've heard of this paradox, of these paradoxes, like these questions, like, oh, imagine you are in a controlling the rails of a train, and a train is coming towards away, and then you see your friend is tied up in one of the rails, and then in the other one there is like 10 people tied up, but you don't know
Three,
any of
I
them.
think. Yeah,
I'm just gonna say 10.
but yeah.
So are you gonna go like to you need to choose where the train is going. Is it gonna go to your friend, or is it gonna go to kill 10 people?
So that's like a
And
dilemma. So you have to choose like
yeah,
either less people die or it
uh-huh.
is your fault that those people died.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
those three people, like,
uh-huh. The point is, so in the example I'm giving you, it's like your friend is in one of the rails, and in the other one is like, I'm saying 10, whatever, because it's the
yeah.
random. So it's like, yeah, 10 people. So I feel like, maybe not in this particular, but like people will always try to save their friend, like the person they know, than if you, or it's like another one with, yeah, a big number of people, because that's how empathy works. Like we feel empathy more for what is familiar to us. Will
There's
you feel
something.
you will feel more empathy for your friend, or will you kill your friend to
There
save those
was.
people?
I've heard this is like a this is a famous thought experiment in
Uh-huh.
psychology. So
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this because I have a degree in psychology.
And what is the common response?
Oh, so I was just gonna say I remember that I've heard something like this, like a thought experiment like this being done with psychopaths, with people with
Uh-huh.
psychopathy,
Yeah.
and I think they were just absent of any kind of emotional
Yeah.
response and empathy.
Sorry, I just so going back to my point
Okay.
about this exercise. My point was that the common response, as far as I know, is that you're gonna save your friend, you're gonna save like, or your family, or like anyone that you know, because that's how empathy works. You save what is familiar to you,
Yep.
instead of like, even if it's one person versus 10 or 15 people that were on the other rate. You rather save one soul that save 15 that you don't know. The book that I
Yeah.
read about against empathy talks about this particular flaw of empathy. That when you hear in the news, oh, a poor little kid got killed by something in the, yeah, in an accident, or in like
Stuck
in
in
a
a well.
terrible like murder or something, you feel like really bad for the kid. But if you hear like, oh, there were 250 people killed, you're like, oh, that's too bad. But like, you don't feel the same empathy. You feel empathy
Yeah.
more from the individual, and that's a flaw of empathy. How can you not feel 250 times worse when,
That's a cognitive bias. Yeah, like
yeah,
people like there's a little girl stuck in a well for 3 days and everybody loses their mind, but when there's millions of children starving in Africa, nobody does anything.
yeah, because it's like too many that our brain can't process it in the same way, because we also feel empathy when we know someone. Break. I'm gonna connect my computer.
Yep. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, regarding psychopaths. So I think psychopaths actually, uh, in that experiment, if I remember correctly, they were just thinking absent of any emotion. They were just thinking like, oh, well, this is more people, so let this guy die. That's just one guy. So they were just purely using logic, I think. Yeah, I don't remember the details. It must have been either some sort of published research that I was reading or something in the book or some sort of psychology show that I was watching. I cannot remember for the life of me what that was, but it was about psychopaths.
Are you talking to yourself?
Yeah, I was just finishing the thought. I was just saying how in that scenario where
Yeah.
either your friend dies or three other people die, and I remember something about like psychopaths, how they were answering differently because they were absent of any empathy or emotion, and
Well,
they were just thinking like, oh, this is one guy and this is three people,
yeah.
so let the one guy die and let the three people live
That's okay.
because they don't
That's
care.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
much better. That's the part I don't get. Am I a psychopath? Like,
yeah,
that's the answer we will hopefully expect from everyone. I
yeah.
wish people were like, it's like, and this is taking me to there are some website, or like some organizations that focus about, I think it's called like effective charity. So they say, I don't know if you've heard of this. I think most of us, like most of the people, most of the women I know are in this, and including me. You send money to a child in a poor country, and they send you pictures of the child, and you are giving them like $20 per month. and then you get letters from the child telling you thank you and you raise
Oh,
that wastes so much money on the letters, on administration, on all the staff working on the organization, tons and tons, thousands and thousands of dollars of money that doesn't get to the children, that doesn't get to the families that are in need. Because this is money that is feeding a bunch of all the staff working for the charity, that a lot of it is not needed. For you to get a picture back and a thank you note, it's taking so much money than the kid instead or another kid could use instead.
hmm.
So, but most people, I mean, but this is an effective way of charity because oh, I feel like I feel like I'm a great person.
Because
Instead,
other people, otherwise people wouldn't donate because there's no emotional feedback. They wouldn't get anything back, and they would
I
just.
actually chose the one where I am. I chose a different one, so I don't get letters from them. But I think instead of helping a single child, it's just more like I let the organization decide what to do with my money, so I don't get any of these letters back. Uh,
I
because
wonder what
because
percentage of money actually goes to help the children.
well, yeah, this is where I was going. There is a website that is something about effective charities that gives you graphs at the end of the year, the fiscal year. Most of these charitable organizations, they share their finances and they show how much money. So in this one particular, I'm telling you, it's like I can't remember, it's available on the internet, but it's like 70% of the money goes to administration. Like a big, I mean, between administration, between salary for their workers, etc. Like all the money. I mean, imagine this is people from all over the world sending letters back and forth towards Intercontinental. Like, I don't care about that letter. Does that make me a psychopath? I don't care about receiving a letter back because I would rather those $5 they just are used in that country. Like
Yeah.
uh,
No, I
and
think that makes you just a logical human being who values,
I'm a psychopath.
money.
I'm a psychopath who would choose like the three people in the rail or the 10
You
people.
know, honestly, I
So,
wish I really wanted to contribute, but I think my financial situation is so bad that I'm actually getting sponsored by a child in Africa.
oh no, I hope you don't. You are a privileged person living in a non poor country. You can just go to a church, you know? You're in
Huh?
Texas. You can just go
Church?
to a church and get free food. They don't ask you for anything. You
What?
just show up and
Oh,
ask
really?
them. Yeah, yeah, you live in a first world country, even
Huh.
though sometimes it doesn't look like the States is a first world country.
There was social experiments where people would walk on the street dressed like a businessman with like a suit on, and they would ask people for money because they needed to do something, or like
Yeah.
they had to open their Mercedes or something, and people would stop and give them money. And
Yeah,
the same guy dressed as a homeless person would approach, just same street, same guy, just dressed as a homeless person. And people were rude to him. People literally wouldn't even stop. He would say, "Hi,
yeah,
excuse me, can I borrow $1?" And people
uh-huh.
would just be like, "No, no, sorry, no." And they don't even stop.
And that is empathy for you. And that is why the book Against Empathy was making so much fun, so much sense. Because empathy, okay, it's a natural instinct that we have, and it has helped for some things. But empathy is bullshit.
Well, this
Like,
is a lack
really.
of empathy. If you're
No, no,
walking past someone who's homeless and needs your
that
help,
is that is
it
not exactly a lack of empathy because that is empathy as far as as I understand empathy is like the natural instinct that we have to care about others that are familiar to us that we
not
consider
necessarily.
part of our tribe and 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 then every person decides what is my tribe like what is so I mean
I think there's something added to that definition that's not necessarily in the regular definition of empathy.
because that whole thing about that experiment about the train and the rail and choosing your friends over strangers, I think that is a consequence of empathy.
Hmm.
The ability to sense other people's emotions. Mm,
Oxford defines empathy as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another,
mhm.
and not necessarily from your tribe. It's kind of the ability
Yeah,
to feel what another person is feeling. Like if you're watching someone getting stabbed, you kind of cringe, you kind of like move, you imagine almost getting stabbed or hit yourself.
meanwhile, it's also used in comedy, like a person getting hurt and falling from the stairs. It's a thing that people laugh to. They
Yeah.
it's common to laugh to that.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Yeah.
You know, America's Funniest Videos, those
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I never thought like I would watch those and I would just be like, this is just people falling down. Why is everyone
Yeah.
what? And they add like a laugh track, which is
Uh-huh.
like a fake laughter where people
Yeah.
are supposedly laughing. Then they just play back the same laugh track. And I would
Uh-huh.
just look at it and I would just cringe like,
What
oh
if they
no.
didn't ask the what if they didn't add the laugh track and instead they
I
added
think
like a very dun 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 and or like a very dramatic, very, very sad song.
what
Like
if they just added nothing and just played the video with the audio that came with it? I don't
I
think it
think
would be
people will
funny.
still laugh.
I don't think people would
It
laugh.
depends. It depends what kind of people, I guess. I feel that even for cartoons, and like they're cartoons, they are not getting hurt. But like I feel like, oh no, they're
Well,
oh
I
no.
mean, it's different. Like some of those videos are really like
Yeah,
unfortunate and
yeah,
it
but that's
looks like
the
somebody
thing.
hurt themselves.
Even if it's like a cartoon of someone getting hurt, I can't see like I can't laugh to that. I just feel so
Yeah.
bad for this poor cartoon getting hurt.
Yeah, me too.
uh,
We have too
but
much empathy.
but yeah, I feel like empathy is or maybe empathy is not the proper word to define it, but like this instinctive feeling that humans have to sense for others is completely flawed and full of bullshit. Like
What shit?
because because we care about only things that are familiar to us, or we are only yeah like it's full of flaws. So
I think I don't know that I'm not familiar with that book, but it sounds like the author may have added some stuff into the concept of empathy that's not exactly the psychological definition of empathy.
maybe I okay I'm also paraphrasing from what I remember, so maybe the author explains it better. I'll need to look it up
I'll
again.
need to look at the
Yeah, look at the summary when you get
page.
a chance,
Oh,
just
what is
for
it
like
called? What is that book called?
against empathy.
Against Empathy. Let me write
Yeah,
this down.
yeah. What else? What else did I learn during the gratitude thing? Oh yeah, so this book that I say was my favorite, I think. Uh, so self-reflection, doing fasting, silence retreats. They also have like humble practices. Um, just for so they have practices for cultivating gratitude. This is where they talk about journaling, and it's okay to do it occasionally rather than daily, because that I guess that makes you not do it in a robotic way, but more
Mhm.
like when you feel it. Um, they say remembering like failures, remembering pain is good. It's not. It's okay. It's not like we have to focus only on the positive. It's okay to think about like anything you like yeah, like failed or like a difficult time that you have. Um, and then
Yeah,
I
I
guess
hate
it's
that.
when it gets it gets more dark, and it's like think about something that is coming to an end, think about the absence of something positive, think about one's own death, because that increases gratitude. Or okay, they say a near death experience, like if you're like in a car accident or something that is very um, traumatic, like very impactful, then after that you feel like, yeah, you feel grateful. You feel grateful that yeah, when things
Yeah.
like nothing got worse or things. Um, and then they mention like humble practices for daily life. So that's just like I feel like this might come up as a result rather than as a start. But
Being
like
grateful.
yeah, so I feel like this is like a cycle. So like maybe we can control to some extent, but I feel like this is just my theory. If we like journal and like write thank you notes and like do this thing that I mentioned earlier, and I can like the what have I given others, what have I received, what difficulties I've have caused others. When we think about this, we bring awareness, and then when you bring awareness, I feel like it's more likely to stop criticizing others, to apologize when you do something wrong, to feel happy about other successes.
So it
Um,
changes other behaviors as well. Because I
or,
think
or, or more like
those
your
are,
behavior towards others,
yeah.
because then you don't feel as uh, yeah, like if you see someone else feeling happy about something, you because you personally feel more aware of like or like happier with the things you have, you also feel happy when somebody else is has something good.
And that's empathy.
Yeah, we need another podcast to talk about empathy specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say some. Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to read that list on the right.
mhm.
Acknowledge wrongdoing, receiving feedback graciously, which this is kind of like a something that a lot of people can't do.
Yeah,
Refrain
but that
from,
was my point. I feel like, again, maybe this is just my theory. I know what the book said, but like, I feel like those things you can't just all of a sudden. It's like those books about like happy. Oh, just be happy. Like what the fuck? You can't. Like it's not how it
yeah,
works. Like you need to work to that, and for that, I don't know. That's how I feel. I need like specific things. Like tell me what to do. Oh, go in the morning for a walk. Go every morning for a walk, for a run. Oh, okay, that I can do, and then that's gonna make me feel better, great. But like no, like oh, just be happy, because that doesn't work. Like how?
yeah.
Like tell me steps and I can follow the steps.
Well,
But
these are sort of instructions,
like
like
yeah, but
refrain
like
from criticizing.
that's not exact. Like feel happy about feel. There was one there. Feel happy about others. Rejoice over others' success. It's just
Yeah,
if you don't feel it, you don't feel it. You have to do other things in order
yeah,
to feel that. Like it's not gonna be like, oh, you're not feeling happy about other success. You need to feel happy right now. Now, now, are you feeling happy? Like no, it's not. I mean that I'm again. Maybe that's just my theory. Maybe I'm just like maybe I'm just a bitch.
uh,
but
willing
like
to learn
but
from
like
our
I need
failures.
I need to get steps first to get there. Maybe if the okay, when I get refrain from criticizing, yeah, that's something you can do. Like even if you feel like you want to criticize something, like just don't criticize.
Well, unfortunately for this book, unfortunately there's even a problem with this because a lot of times, you know how, well, I know someone who's, well, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's someone, I have a friend who's like really, really negative all the time. And he, like, anytime you get, you have some sort of success or some sort of winning, or you get a new computer, you get a new car or something,
Yeah.
he's always trying to put people down. It's like, oh, this car, oh, I thought you got a good car. Why did you get this?
Okay.
Like
I feel like
always
you could be
putting,
talking about a lot of people.
yeah,
Like a lot
yeah.
of people.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people, like anything, any kind of success you have, he would always like try to put you down, like trying to be negative about it. And people, when they have some sort of personality flaw, it's like almost like that thing where you get a
Yeah.
lobotomy and they physically are unable to think about the future.
Uh-huh.
And in the same way, people who have some sort of personality flaw, like when they criticize other people, or people who
Yeah.
can't feel other people's emotions, or people who, uh, have, if they're criticizing other people, or if they're putting other people down and being negative, usually it's something that they cannot even perceive themselves doing. Usually they're
Yes.
completely
They
unaware.
are not they
And
are not aware of that.
you can even see, oftentimes, you can even see a pattern where
Or
other
we are not
people,
aware. Like I
yeah,
think
like other people will
yeah.
tell them, like, hey, will accuse them or tell them that you're doing this and that, you're constantly doing this. Other people will complain to them, and they'll get upset because they're like, oh, he just accused me of being negative. He said I was negative.
Yeah.
Or, they will get upset and they will see that other people are attacking them, and still they
Mm.
will not see that they see this pattern. Like his sister will tell him that you constantly do this, you constantly put people down, you constantly criticize people. His parents will tell him the same thing, his friends will mention it, and every single case he will think, oh, these people are attacking me. It's
Yeah.
never,
You know,
I'm
I
doing this
guess
wrong.
I think that goes back to my initial point because that's not how it works. Like if you have a friend or someone who's very sad, you can't go and tell them, "Oh, be happy." Like you can't I mean you can. That's not
Yeah,
gonna help.
but
That's not
this
gonna
is
do
even
shit.
but
That's
this
not
is
gonna do.
even
It's no, but it's the same point. Like if they're criticizing something, you can't. You It's useless to go and tell a person,
Yeah,
oh, just don't do that.
don't do
Uh,
that. What we
like
have here, stop
yeah, like
criticizing people.
stop criticizing. Like okay, one thing they might stop talking out loud about it. I think that is a good start because I
But
think
it's not
even
a
if
real
you,
start.
it is because if you don't like if you're like with a friend and start criticizing and you say, oh, this other guy and this other girl and they do this and you start criticizing, then your friend is gonna say something. Oh yeah, I know. It's like that other guy, and then they you start creating a loop of like criticizing and judging. So refraining from from saying that out loud, I think that is a good start. It is starting somewhere,
Yeah,
and
it
something
is.
that you can control. Like you can think about it, you can judge it, but if you don't say it out loud, at least you're not feeding the
This,
process. But that's just like a very small step. My theory, and this is just, again, that might be just me and maybe, but like my theory is that when you are, or like when someone is criticizing others or not feeling happy or feeling jealous about other successes, it's something about themselves.
yeah,
They don't feel good about their particular person, and I feel like that is where gratitude can help. Like that is where doing exercises on gratefulness helps to change that perspective. And when you change that perspective, then they can change their behavior with others, and they can start being less negative, and acknowledge when they are doing something wrong, not feeling attacked, apologizing if they did something wrong. But that's not gonna like start from magical nothing. That has to start from people feeling good about themselves, or feeling good with their lives first, with the
Yeah.
and then they can reflect that on others. But like, it's not, because otherwise it's not like if their friends and their family and their coworkers and anyone tells them, then they're just feeling isolated. They are feeling
They're
even
just being
worse.
attacked
They
for
are
no
just feeling like
reason.
nobody understands me.
And
And
every single time they feel like they're being attacked for no reason by multiple people who all are
yeah,
saying the same thing.
but like honestly, if anyone was like contradicting in your belief, that is a wrong belief. But like, you have one belief and everybody's contradicting you, then how are you
Oh,
gonna feel attacked?
oh my God,
Like,
this reminds me of myself. So this reminds me of when I was first learning dance. I don't remember what dance it was, but I was learning some dance, and like I was like really confident. I was a complete beginner. I learned like 3 steps. I
yeah.
was so confident. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna show off. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." I went to one social and I danced with someone, and like like I did the basic, and she like stumbled, and I couldn't dance with her, and I was like, "Ah, this girl doesn't know what she's doing." Then I
Uh,
danced with someone else and she did the same thing. She stumbled in the exact same spot. And I was like, ah, this girl can't follow. Then I danced with someone else and she did the same thing. And I was like, and at no point did I ever think, I'm probably doing this wrong. I'm probably
uh,
not leading.
uh-huh.
And then I danced with an instructor and she did the same thing. She like tripped when I was doing the
Oh,
basic.
why is she?
And I
How
was like,
how did she
oh
become an
man,
instructor?
everybody's making mistakes today. And I was like, and then I'm thinking like, wait a second, this is the instructor. She has significantly more experience than I do. And then, it hit me like, okay,
And
I'm
she still
probably,
fails like that.
it's weird that everybody's messing up today. Maybe I'm the only common denominator here.
Yeah, yeah, I think it happens to all of us.
But I think a
Like,
lot of people are stuck in this thinking like, because people tend to be more agreeable, people don't tend to just see other people's flaws and immediately accuse them. People tend to not try to not get into conflicts. So
mm,
usually, like your coworkers,
yeah,
and stuff, they try to be polite. So people are not going to be constantly telling you, "Oh, you suck at this. You have this personality flaw that's terrible. It's making people not like you." No, most people are not going to say
yeah.
that. So you're just going to have that flaw, and whenever you get feedback, you're going to feel like you're attacked
Mm-hmm.
for no reason. And we still have that blindness where we can't cut it. And you were saying this example where the person is depressed and you can't just
Yeah,
tell them to be happy. But this is
yeah.
even one step further because the person doesn't even know the equivalent of that, doesn't even know that they're depressed. It's like they don't even know the problem exists, like a lot of the times when they have like a
So, yeah.
personality flaw. A depressed person knows they're depressed, but when somebody has some other personality flaw that's really screwing over their life,
Mm.
oftentimes they can't even perceive the flaw. They don't even know it's happening. They don't even know what's causing them issues.
And also, even if they know because people tell them, it's not like
All those
it's not
people are
like it's gonna
assholes.
change.
It's not them,
Yeah.
it's the people
And
that are
like
assholes.
also, they're feeling attacked, like they're feeling more isolated. And when they're feeling isolated, they can't change, like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna, like again, like in the like in the simple example of like, oh, be happy, like, oh, thank you, oh,
Oh,
why
now I'm
I didn't
happy.
think of
Sorry,
that
totally
before.
forgot about being happy. Now I'm happy.
Yeah, like it's not, Like, okay, maybe it will work if you tell them breathe. Okay, that's something I can do. And
Yeah.
like, okay, that's a step. Like that's something that you're getting somewhere. Uh, but I feel like a lot of these are like maybe practices to keep in the back of your mind. Um, but it's like it's not something that happens from one day to the next. Like the some of them are like if you want to continue. So you mentioned refrain from criticizing, uh, forgiving who have wronged us. Yeah, forgiving is another one. Like it takes.
Yeah,
It
that's a
depends
really
on the
difficult
person.
one for some people.
Yeah. Uh, like again,
Why
it's
are you
not
laughing?
that it's not something that is like, oh, forget about this. Oh, okay, I forget now. Like it's just people have different ways of thinking. But like, okay, apologizing, that is something, that is an action. Like that is
Oh, it
something you
is.
can do, even if you don't.
But it has to be genuine. Like
You know,
psychopaths, they can fake emotion. Does that
yeah,
mean it's real emotion? No.
I have mixed feelings about what we were talking earlier about saying please and thank you, because like I mentioned, like other cultures, uh, it's not common to say that. So in a way, yeah, when you say it, it's very genuine because you don't say it often. When you say it, you really mean it. But I feel like I have mixed feelings about that because I also feel like saying it, even if you don't feel it 100%, saying thank you about something lets the other person know that you are aware. At least you are aware of something they did for you.
Mhm.
So even if you
That is
don't,
a start.
yeah, even if you don't completely feel it, if you, because a lot of times it's like we feel entitled for things. So like, oh yeah, they just did this. They did this favor for me at work. Well, it's everyone's job. Like you don't feel. But then if you say it, I feel like it changes something in your mindset. Even if it's not genuine, like saying sorry, saying like apologizing, it changes something. Like it because that genuine part is very relative. What is genuine? Like to what point are you gonna wait until you're 100% feeling it? Then chances are you're never gonna say it. Like chances are we are
Mhm.
never gonna. So we have to say it. You have to still say please, thank you, sorry, like all those words. What if someone is so used to being like polite, we're so well educated to being polite that they are always like, oh, I am sorry, I will buy you a drink to compensate,
Well, this
but they
is
are
nice,
not feeling it, but they are not feeling it.
but at
Would you
least it's
rather,
something nice to do.
yeah, would you rather someone who really feels it and saying like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm really so sorry, I couldn't sleep because I'm so sorry for it, or someone who says, "Oh yeah, slip my mind. I'll get you some coffee to compensate."
I would probably make the first person buy me coffee, and so I would get both.
Mm,
The person who's really, really sorry, I'd be like, hey, okay, so you owe me coffee, right? And they'd be like, okay, fine, I'll do whatever you say.
mm. And they're like they have no money or something,
If they're really poor, they're gonna have to get a job or something. I don't know.
just to get the coffee, just to
Yeah,
get coffee.
they kind of have to sell some furniture on Craigslist to buy me coffee. If they really care, they'll do it.
Wow, furniture. That must be a very expensive coffee.
Yeah, you've been to
Wow.
Starbucks, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I always get confused with their names. And alto means a
yeah.
big one.
I don't even know. It is really
I
confusing.
get so confused because I think alto is the smallest coffee, but alto in Spanish means tall. So when I say alto, I'm imagining like the tall cup rather than the short cup. So the big one. but that is their smallest one.
Yeah, that is confusing. I don't know. I don't know any of their names of things.
Yeah, so apologizing to you. I guess it's also like,
Apologizing to others,
yeah,
enduring unfairness with
apologizing. Like, do you apologize with acts of service, or do you only apologize with words? Or do you apologize genuinely, or you are just doing it out of habit? It gets complex.
thinking and spitting what
Speaking good things
speaking
of
good
other
things of other
people.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that is one that comes out in gratitude journals. Because then if you do this exercise more often of like just thinking good things of others, it's yeah, it just happens more common.
Oh, speaking of gratitude, I think I've told you this on the previous one that we haven't posted, but I just wanted to mention that yeah, so I did the gratitude journals for a while. I think I
Mm-hmm.
started in at the end of maybe 2019, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And there's so I would write every day or every other day the things that I'm thankful for. And I think I didn't notice the difference per se in how it sort of rewired my brain, but I've noticed that I've become a little bit more positive after that because I felt like my focus has shifted on more positive things.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is the other thing other books talk about, that it's okay if you don't do it. Like if you do um, a gratitude journal and once in like for a period of time, like for 3 months or so, and then you stop, and then you come back to it, and then you stop for a few months. It's not like you are really starting over from the zero, but you are creating, like cultivating awareness. You are working. I think it's like working out. Like if you have some months of like workout, you gain some muscle, and the muscle is not lost the next day. It's like still there, and then maybe you rest for a month, and then you come back to it, and you have more strength than when you had at the very beginning. So in these times of like gratitude journal, you have more awareness for gratitude. Like gratitude becomes easier, even if you stop for a while. Like you are still going towards an awareness of appreciation. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I just pulled up my gratitude journal.
Mm-hmm.
June 25th, it says, I'm grateful for a wonderful possible podcast number 3 with Rocia. Number 2, I am grateful for the positive state of mind and confusion of thinking tomorrow was my day off, so I was in a good mood all day, even though, as it turns out, tomorrow is in fact not my day off. So that was June 25th. Any parting thoughts? Anything else that you wanted to
Be
talk about?
grateful. Just be grateful. That's it.
Just be grateful. That's it.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's a conclusion. At least a conclusion I got from all these books is that not like it's baby steps, right? It's not like you're gonna feel grateful and aware and thankful for everything from day one. It's like a process to the purpose of gratitude journals is to bring awareness, and to bring awareness about the things that we have, and like appreciate friends, appreciate people that surround us, appreciate what people do. Sometimes people do things for us and we don't really see them. And yeah, just being more appreciative of that. But it takes time. I feel like me personally it helped me because when I'm writing this journal, sometimes I just don't know what to write about. Like I can write about the typical stuff, or like the oh yeah, my cup of coffee, I'm happy for my drink, I am thankful I have a house and a bed, and but like to feel it, I feel like it helps focusing on one person in a day and just thinking about what this person has done for me, what I have done for them, and how if I had been difficult or annoying or anything bad to them, and just think about that, just to be more aware. And also focusing on negative things sometimes helps. When you don't feel like focusing on positive, then just focus on the negative, but like on the negative in a way that, oh, what if this ends? What if whatever I currently have comes to an end? And then, like, even the example of Sundays, like Sunday tends to be like a sad day because, like, oh no, the week is ending and tomorrow's Monday and I gotta work. But if instead of that you are like, oh, it's still Sunday, and you appreciate the Sunday, because yeah, it's gonna end, but it hasn't ended. So like appreciate the Sunday for what it is, not for what it will become.
Yeah, this reminds me, we talked about this when we talked previously about how, what if you were to wake up early on Sunday morning and just imagine in your mind, just think about how Sunday has ended, imagine, and you have to go to work tomorrow, you have to get
Mm.
up, and you haven't gotten enough rest, and you haven't done anything that you wanted, and then realize that it's Sunday morning and you have the entire day free.
Oh yeah, it's like when the alarm
Yeah.
goes off on a weekend or like on a day you have off, and then you're like, oh, I gotta get up, and like, oh no, I have the day
So
off.
it's a creative way to use a little bit of self-deception, just like the gratitude thing that I just read, how the whole
Uh-huh.
thing, I was so happy because I was thinking like, oh, tomorrow's my day off, and
Yeah.
turned out it was Friday and I have to work on Saturday. And I only
Wow.
realized this like late in the evening, but the whole day I was in a good mood. I felt like,
Oh,
man, I'm gonna get so much rest. This is gonna be awesome.
uh,
And the whole day I was in a good mood.
that's great. Yeah. But yeah, that actually makes sense. Like why not do it like every day off? Like don't think, like we tend to think about, oh, tomorrow, or like, oh, next week I'll have so much work. But like if you are not doing that right now, just enjoy today for what it is. Or like if you're on a vacation, on the last day of the vacation, you're like, oh, I'm going back, I don't want to go back. And like instead of that, enjoy the moment for what it is. Like enjoy that.
Yeah, in that case, you're just burning emotional energy on something that you can't control and something that's
Uh-huh.
not the current situation. So
Yeah, and
you're
then you're
just,
wasting your current moment where you could be doing something more
yeah,
positive, more joyful.
exactly. There's like I don't remember where this is from, but there's like three where there's like another emotion where you're like an emotion of resistance where you're in a situation where you don't want to be, like you're in a class or you're doing some sort of training that you don't want to do, and you're just like, oh, I hate this, this is terrible, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be here. Like that's the emotion of resistance. And in every situation you always have three options that you can to override this. You can either accept the situation fully, you can work to change the situation into something that you will enjoy more, or you can
Mm.
inject yourself out of the situation. You can just say, I'm stuck on this negative emotion. I need to leave right now. Okay, turn off. Okay, turning off my background effect. Oh, okay, so this shirt, I've already
Oh
shown you.
yeah.
So this is literally my favorite shirt ever. Shout out to Vanessa. She's an amazing dancer, an amazing human. She just randomly gifted me this shirt. She was like, "Hey, I have something you would like,"
It
and I
seems
was
like she
like,
knows you very well.
"Yeah, she does." And then she randomly gifted me this shirt that says
Wow.
"Welcome to the
Oh,
Internet."
the kitten has a gun?
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a cat riding a shark.
with
a
the
gun.
gun
Yeah,
and
that's
a rainbow.
hilarious. Every time I look at this shirt, I'm just cracking up. I can't stop laughing, and this is like literally my favorite thing ever. So, yeah, that was another thing I wanted to show on here.
Speaking of grateful, you're grateful for that shirt.
I am grateful for that shirt, and this is awesome. And yeah, well, it was
Yeah,
super awesome talking to you.
thank you.
For
It was very nice to talk to you. Thank you for all this time.
Yeah, thank you for everyone listening. If you have made it to the end of this podcast, you're an amazing human. You can do anything that you set your mind to, yeah, and you will achieve great things. All right, thanks. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.